All right, on today's episode of Homework Help, we're working on solving systems by substitution, part 2. Part 2. We're going to do questions 1, 3, 5, and 11. So let's take a look at first one, which is number 1. Okay. Number 1 says x minus y equals 4, and I have y equals 3x. Okay. Since y is what they have in common, y is my isolated variable over here, so that's what I'm going to substitute in right here. So I have x minus, I know that y is 3x, and that's going to equal 4. So again, I'm substituting in 3x for y. That means, and again, don't forget, we have naked numbers, naked variables here. If we don't put that there, we might forget. So I have 1x minus 3x equals 4. Well, 1 minus 3 is negative 2x equals 4. Divide both sides by negative 2. I get x equals negative 2. That's what I think the answer is. So I'm going to pick one of these two to substitute it into. So this was step 1. Step 1 is substitute. Step 2 is find the other variable. I'm going to use this one because it looks like it's easiest to solve. Y equals 3x, and I know that x is negative 2. Y equals 3 times negative 2, which means that y is negative 6. Now, my third step is to use my remaining equation to solve and see, to check and see if that's right. So I have x minus y equals 4. X is negative 2. Y is negative 6. Okay. Now, notice I was very careful to substitute this into parentheses. Remember, anytime subtracting, I want to substitute in parentheses because y is negative 6. It's not just 6, it's negative 6. All right? Well, I have a double negative here, so that means I have negative 2 plus 6, and negative 2 plus 6 is 4. This is a true statement, so I know that my answer is correct. My final step is to write this as an ordered pair. So my ordered pair goes x, which is negative 2, y, which is negative 6. All right, let's look at the next one. The next one we're going to do together is number 3. Okay, 3 is 4x plus y equals 12, and y equals negative 4x plus 5. Okay, so since y is my isolated variable, everywhere I see a y, I'm going to put 4x plus 5. So that means I'm going to substitute, I'm going to substitute it right there. Now, if I saw it in more places, I'd substitute it in more places. I only see it in one place. That's the only place I'm going to put it. So now I have 4x plus y, which is negative 4x plus 5 equals 12. Remember, all my leftovers come straight down. The only thing I changed was this. So I have 4x minus 4x plus 5 equals 12. Well, 4x and negative 4x cancel out. All I have left is 5 equals 12. Does 5 equal 12? No, it does not, so I have no solution. Okay? All right, let's look at number 5. Okay? Number 5 says 4x plus 2y equals 8, and it says y equals negative 2x plus 4. My y is isolated, so that means everywhere I see a y, I'm going to put negative 2x plus 4. All right? So 4x plus 2 times negative 2x plus 4 equals 8. So I'm going to distribute 4x minus 4x plus 8 equals 8. Well, 4x minus 4x equals 0, leaving me with 8 equals 8. Does 8 equal 8? Yes, that means I have infinitely many solutions. Okay? Let's take a look at this last word problem. This is number 11. Okay? I'm going to pause real quick and get myself a highlighter. Alrighty, so let's take a look at this problem. It says, the difference of two integers is 5. So the difference is 5. Twice the smaller number is 8 more than the larger number. And they want me to tell them what are the two numbers. So that means they're asking me to find two numbers. So for number 11, the first, so I've read and underlined or highlighted. Now I'm going to list what I know. Okay? It says the difference of two integers. So I have, well, first of all, it says I have a smaller and a larger one. So I'm going to make S is my smaller, and L is my larger. Notice I made my L capital because I'm not trying to get confused with a 1. I'm going to make my L capital. Okay, so it says the difference of two integers is 5. So since that's positive, that means my big one minus my small one is 5. Because, yeah, larger minus smaller equals 5. If it was negative, then that would mean smaller minus large. Difference means subtract. It says twice the smaller integer is 8 more than the larger integer. So 8 more than the larger integer. Okay? What are the two integers? Okay? Hold on a second. Okay, yeah, I wanted to check this because, I'm going to be honest with you, I don't like this question. Part of the reason why I don't like this question is because I don't think I would have solved it this way. All right? But as you can see, I don't have an isolated variable. So if I want to use the substitution method, I need to isolate a variable. Okay? It doesn't matter which one I isolate, but I need to isolate something. So there's a couple ways I could do that. I could divide everything by 2 and substitute that in. Or I could add s to both sides, and then I would get, so I could divide everything by 2, that would isolate the s in this equation. I could add s to both sides, that would isolate the l in this equation. I think I like that better because if I divide this by 2, then I'm going to wind up with a fraction, and I don't want a fraction because I don't like fractions, they freak me out. Okay? So I'm going to take this equation here, okay, and I'm going to add s to both sides. Now I get L equals 5 plus S. Oh my gosh, my 5's and my S's. This is my nightmare. Okay? Now I have an isolated variable, and I'm going to substitute in 5 plus S whenever I see it. Okay? Now, you could have just as easily labeled these X and Y, and it would have been perfectly fine. Okay, there's nothing wrong with that. I like to use letters that match the situation, but you don't have to do that. Okay, so now let's start with my first step. My first step is my substitution step. So I have 2s equals L, which is 5 plus s plus 8. Okay, so all I did was substitute in 5 plus s right there. Okay, now I'm going to combine my like terms. I have a 5 and an 8. So I have 2s equals, all right, sorry about that. Okay, so now I see 5 and 8, so I'm going to combine them. So I have 1s plus 13. Now, I've got s's by themselves over here, but I need to get rid of this one, so I'm going to subtract 1s. And notice I put the 1 in front of the s, because again, I don't like those naked numbers. I'm going to subtract. That leaves me 1s equals 13. So that means the smaller number is 13. All right? Now that I know the smaller number, I can use either of these equations. Now, I'm going to tell you this. I don't want to use this equation. I want to use one of these two, because these are the two originals that I wrote. If I made a mistake over here and I plug it into this one, then I'm not going to be able to see that mistake. But if I check over here, if I use one of these two, I'm going to be in better shape. Well, I know that 1s, we can just say s, equals 13. So I'm going to look, I think I like this one better. Okay, so I'm going to plug it into this one. Okay, so 2 times 13 equals a large number plus 8. Well, 2 times 13 is 26. When I subtract 8 from 26, I get 18 equals a larger number. Now, I need to confirm that this works with both equations. So if this is true, the larger minus the smaller is 5. Well, 18 minus 13, well, that is 5. So that's true. So Word problem means word answer. The numbers are 13 and 18. Okay? All right. See you tomorrow.